Good morning, Soapbox Nation. Hey, TGIF, I am your host, Matt Morgan, and thank you for joining me for episode 105 of Soapbox Daily. How's everybody doing today? I want to thank you very much for tuning in on this Friday. I hope everybody's Friday is starting off well. And how has your integrity been this week? How's your integrity starting off today? Have you been the positive change? Have you been the positive example the world needs? Hey, only you would know, but tomorrow's another day, and today's a fresh new day as well, so evolve. Be the best person you can be, and let's try to make a good change in this world. So let's get into today's show, episode 105 for this glorious Friday. Today, we're going to kind of be a continuation of something we've talked in before with regards to scammers and fraudsters and everything else. And I think this is to address a little more directly towards two of the current plagues on society, which are scam texts and phone calls. All right, this is a huge plague because honestly, who doesn't get it? And it's on a rise, and especially during holiday seasons, it's on a rise. It's like holiday seasons, it's like they just become Grinches and Scrooges, and they're just the bottom feeder, worst of the worst, scum of the friggin' world scammers that are calling you or harassing you or trying to convince you, to try to play on your heart and play on your generosity and play on your kindness that you have in order to scam money from you so they can go do their drugs or partying or, other illicit behavior, whatever these scammers do with these ill-gotten gains. But regardless, the fact is I don't want you to be a victim of this, especially during the holiday season, because the holiday season is supposed to be a joyous time. It's supposed to be a happy time. I mean, they're relentless, as I mentioned. Scamming texts and phone calls have just been a plague for at least a good portion of the last decade, but more so in the last 5 years I've noticed, especially with COVID. So I'm going to give you some pointers and some advice on how to deal with these particular texts and phone calls. First and foremost, and I know it's kind of like gun shy, so to speak, or some people might call it paranoid, but no, it's just being vigilant. It's doing your due diligence. You're being smart about this. And you kind of have to be, unfortunately, in today's communication age with how everything is. Everybody wants to be included, and everybody would like to win the lottery, and everybody would like to be famous, and everybody would like to have these perks in life. But unfortunately, it's not the way the world works. You're not going to get something for nothing. It's just the way it is. So my advice when it comes to communications these days, and pass this on to the older folks because, they're from a different generation where you could actually trust somebody when they're calling you for the most part. Actually, as I said, times have changed. So here's the thing. Golden rule is this. If you don't know the person that's calling, if you don't know the number, if it's not programmed into your phone, if it's an unknown number, or even if it actually shows the name, you really have to question it. Okay, because the technology exists that you can spoof. You can spoof not just phone numbers, you can spoof actual company names. Yes, it can be done. I support this technology for a living. So I know it can be done through VoIP communications, digital communications. You can spoof this information. You can make it look like it's coming from a legit entity, but it's not. So here's my advice. If you're expecting the phone call, of course answer it, because obviously you can identify the person you're dealing with. But if you're not expecting the phone call, if it's completely out of the blue, then you're gonna have to put your Sherlock Holmes hat on and do a little bit of an investigation. To be safe, you have to do some investigation. If for some reason you get a call that they're saying it's from the tax bureau, well, why is the tax bureau calling you? Why would they be calling you? Did you pay your taxes, not pay your taxes? Generally, they're going to send something in the mail. They're not going to be calling you. They're going to be a little more legit or show up at your front door, but there's just going to be something a little heavier than just a phone call because phone calls can be easily done. So if you get a call from an unknown number, I would just send it right to voicemail. Send it right to voicemail. You decline the call, it'll go to voicemail. Yeah, I know it means you have to check your voicemail, but send it to voicemail. Screw it, send it to voicemail. Give yourself time to not be bombarded, especially at a bad time, because that's usually when these scammers end up making their bucks, is when you rush to answer the phone because that's the way you're trained. We're taught to do that, answer the phone when it rings. So you rush to answer the phone and you're at a flutter and the person's bombarding you with questions and overwhelming you, and they're just trying to, get all this information out of you, and you're just subconsciously not even thinking about it. You're just answering all these questions, and you've just given out the keys to the city because you've unlocked your life for this person because you've given all this information because they completely overwhelmed you or intimidated you or something along those lines. No. Don't fall prey to that. Don't fall victim to that. If you don't know the number that's calling you, send it to voicemail. Just hit the decline button. It'll go to voicemail. That's it. And then at that point, listen to the voicemail. If it sounds legit, great. And they're giving you a callback number, great. You know what you do? You Google. You look at the actual official website, or you Google that particular entity, that company, that organization, that service, and get the actual information, and then call the exact information, the actual information, not what was provided in your voice message. And you call them and say, hey, I got a call from this other number. Is this you? Double check into that. Don't take verbatim whatever the person's saying in that message. Don't give that contact information. Like, don't call them at that number. Never ever do that. Never call them back at that number, because that is where they want you to go. Because they've overwhelmed you, they've scared you, whatever the case may be. Don't call them back. Don't call them back. Research, Google, ask friends, ask family, ask people that might know about this stuff to help you do some investigation and see if it's legit. And then if you feel so inclined, call them up and say, hey, not the number they provide you, but call the actual legit agency or company or whatever, and verify that other form of communication was theirs or not. And just be smart about it. Doesn't mean you have to call them back. If it's just a marketer or some sort of salesperson, whatever. You don't need it. Leave it alone. Nothing's for free. There's a catch. Same with text messages. When you get a text message, and text messages can seem very legit, especially if you actually get a text message that's appearing to be one of the services that you use or a company that you deal with. Those you kind of question because you think, oh, okay. But consider it's phishing. Consider it phishing. Okay, so here's how you can do this. You can take somebody's phone number. Believe it or not, you can Google somebody's phone number. And if it's a cell phone number, it will actually tell you the carrier that it's on. I know, shocking, right? So if you were to take, say, my phone number and now you throw it through Google, it would tell me that, hey, you're on Rogers. Well, guess what? They're going to tailor the text message to the fact that you're a Rogers customer, and they're going to make it sound like there's a problem with your account, or you should contact them, because it looks a little more legit, because they already know that you're with that carrier. So they're going to tailor it something that you can identify with to try to rope you in, try to pull you in. They're doing a little fishing. That's all they're doing, a little fishing. See if they can rope you in and get you to click on that link. As soon as you click on that link, boom, your device, yes, even cell phones, or your computer is compromised. Don't do it. Don't click on those links you get in text messages. Same thing with phone calls. Do not give in to their form of communication, because they'll screw you over. You will be screwed. Don't click on the links. Don't call back the numbers. Investigate it. You can block calls. Every phone has the ability. Apple or Android has the ability to block calls. If you know it's a spam call, you can block that caller. You can also block text messages. In the actual text message app, there is a way to block the contact, block that particular person from doing it again. I know it's a second job almost to keep doing it over and over again, but that's the only way to keep yourself safe. Block the calls, block the phone numbers, block the text messages, try to keep on top of it, but don't ever knee-jerk reaction to answer the call or to answer that text or respond to any formal communication or clicking on links and texts, or even emails for that matter. Be smart about it. If you're not expecting it, it's out of the blue, leave it alone. Research, ask around, do your due diligence. I know, again, another almost a full-time job. Having to do this. But you know what? You worked hard for your life. You've worked hard to get everything you have. Don't let some scum, bottom feeder, scum of the earth, complete dirt pile of a person scam you out of everything you've worked for. They're not working hard. They're just scamming. They're taking the easy route. We don't need them, but unfortunately, we got to protect ourselves against them. So that's my saying on that one. If you don't know it, research it. Don't knee-jerk reaction. Don't answer the call. Send it to voicemail. Don't answer that text. Don't reply. Don't click on links. And I'm going to leave that as that for this Friday. Again, TGIF. I hope you have an amazing Friday moving forward. An amazing weekend coming up. If you get bored this weekend, please check out getoffmysoapbox.com. More information on all our shows. And yes, we have a new one coming up. And maybe I'll get a little more into that later on. But we'll just leave you guessing at this point. But if you get a chance, please check out our website. And we could use any support you could possibly provide, whether it's sharing the show or any donations you're willing to help out with. That'd be great. Anyways, I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Have a good one. Stay safe. And I will see you on Monday for our next episode.